We've all been to the doctor, right? But have you ever really stopped to think about what medicine actually is? I mean, it's so much more than just getting a prescription or a checkup. It's this entire world built on walking a tightrope between cold, hard science and the very human art of healing.
So that brings us to the big question, the one that really gets to the heart of it all. Is medicine a science or is it an art? And the answer, which we're going to unpack here, is that it's not just one or the other. It's absolutely and necessarily both.
Okay, so if you look at the official definition, you can see that duality baked right in. It's the science and practice, see? Both are right there in the first line. And it's not just about fixing you when you're sick. It covers this huge range from diagnosing what's wrong to predicting how it'll play out and even preventing it from happening in the first place. The end goal is always the same, promoting health.
And this really breaks it down perfectly. Just think about a surgeon stitching up a wound. The physical skill, the dexterity, that feel for how the tissue comes together, that's the art. It's something you can only learn through practice, thousands and thousands of times. But knowing why that tissue needs to be brought together in a certain way, understanding how cells will repair themselves to fight off infection, that is pure science. You absolutely cannot have one without the other.
You know, to really get a handle on modern medicine, you kind of have to look back at where it all came from. And its history is this incredible journey, literally from superstition and philosophy to the super data-driven world we live in today. And what a journey it's been. I mean, it all starts way back in the ancient world with Hippocrates, who made this, at the time, revolutionary claim that diseases have natural causes, not because you angered a god. Then you jump to the Middle Ages, and Avicenna's canon of medicine was the textbook for literally centuries. Then the modern era explodes with a total game changer, Edward Jenner and the smallpox vaccine. And all of that leads us right here to today, where the big focus is on evidence-based medicine, making decisions on what the data says works, not just on tradition. Okay, so that's the big picture history, but how does all of that science and tradition translate to what happens when you actually walk into a doctor's office? Let's pull back the curtain on the clinical encounter and how doctors are actually trained to think.
So a doctor's visit isn't random. It follows a very clear, structured path. It always starts with your story. That's the medical history. Then comes the physical exam, where they're looking for objective clues. Now from there, they do something called a differential diagnosis. This is key. It's basically a list of all the possible things that could be causing your symptoms. So if you come in with a cough, that list isn't just the common cold. It's allergies, bronchitis, pneumonia, maybe even something rare. The doctor's job is to be a detective, systematically ruling things out to land on the most likely culprit before making a treatment plan.
And that first step, the medical history, it's like putting together a giant puzzle. Your chief complaint, the main reason you came in, is just the first piece. To see the whole picture, the doctor needs the rest of the story. Your past illnesses, your family's health history, even your social situation. Each of these pieces gives crucial context that helps them figure out what's really going on. Of course, it's pretty obvious that no single doctor can possibly know everything about the human body. It's just way too complex. So the world of medicine is organized into this really intricate system of specialties and different levels of care.
So at the very highest level, you can pretty much split all of medicine into two giant buckets. In one bucket, you've got medicine, which is all about non-operative treatment. Think a cardiologist who manages heart disease with medications. In the other bucket, you have surgery, which, you guessed it, uses operative procedures, like an orthopedic surgeon who physically sets a broken bone. You could almost think of it as one treats with pills and plans, the other with scalpels and stitches.
And the system itself is layered too. It turns out that about 90% of all medical visits are handled by primary care. That's your family doctor. For things that need a deeper level of expertise, you get referred to secondary care, say a cardiologist or a dermatologist. And then, for the most complex, highly specialized stuff, like organ transplants or a major burn center, that's where tertiary care comes in. It's really a pyramid of expertise.
And becoming the person at the top of that pyramid, well, it's a marathon, not a sprint. We're talking years of grueling medical school, followed by residency, which is basically this long, incredibly demanding apprenticeship in a specific field, working 80-hour weeks. And only after all of that, and after passing a whole battery of licensing exams, can a person actually practice medicine. The whole system is designed to ensure the absolute highest standard of care.
But practicing medicine today isn't just about knowledge and skill. It's also about navigating some incredibly complex ethical dilemmas and dealing with a constant demand for scientific proof for everything you do.
You see, medical ethics, which go all the way back to ideas like the Hippocratic Oath, are built on these core pillars, and they're constantly in tension with each other. For example, think about the balance between autonomy, your right to make your own choices, and non-maleficence, the doctor's promise to first do no harm. What happens when a life-saving treatment is something a patient absolutely refuses? A doctor is constantly weighing their duty to help against your fundamental right to decide for yourself.
Now, when we talk about challenges, I want to show you one of the most fascinating ones in modern medicine. And it comes down to this number right here, 49%. What on earth could that possibly refer to?
Well, get this. It's a truly staggering statistic. A major review back in 2007 found that for nearly half, 49% of all common medical treatments, there just wasn't enough solid evidence to prove that they helped or that they hurt. This was a massive wake-up call for the entire medical field. It revealed this huge gap between what was commonly being done and what was actually scientifically proven to work. So the medical world's response to this problem was a huge movement called evidence-based medicine, or EBM. The entire goal of EBM is to close that evidence gap. It's about systematically digging through all of the available data to figure out what truly works. It represents a fundamental shift away from "this is how we've always done it" to "this is what the science and the data tell us to do."
And that brings us right back to where we started, doesn't it? Medicine isn't just one thing. It's this constant, dynamic balancing act between being a rigorous science that's always chasing down the evidence and being a compassionate art that's focused on the very human goal of healing.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. As technology like AI and advanced robotics get more and more integrated into healthcare, what do you think happens to the art of medicine? Does that human element, that intuition, start to fade away? Or, just maybe, does it become more important than it's ever been before?